All right, I have 5 o'clock. Everybody's ready. We'll get started here. All right, so today is Monday, April 19th, 2021. This is a village board meeting for the Village of Oregon. And so I would ask for a roll call, please.
Oleg.
Oleg is here.
Carpenter.
Here.
Glish.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
And Stitch.
Here.
Thank you, Candy. All right, so now we're starting, we got a rotation of thank yous here. I get to go first. This is my last village board meeting. I want to thank everybody, especially on the board, for all of your hard work these last few years. And I really want to thank the staff for the public who's watching. We have some of the best folks who work for the village, and we have some amazing department heads. And I would just like to say that there's a reason that you don't often see the Village of Oregon in the news for anything bad. It's because we have highly competent people who work for us. And those of you who know me know that I don't often say things just to be nice, because that's not who I am. So, and I know you're all going to miss that. Yeah. But no, I really want to thank the staff and the board. So thank you. Thank you. Moving on with the thank yous. Next is we're going to thank Trustee Jenna Jacobson for her years on the village board. Jenna, it's been a pleasure to serve with you. I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate all the effort you put into the many projects that you've worked on and the committee assignments that you've gotten. And I guess I'd let any other board members chime in that wanted to at this time for Jenna.
So Jeannie, I
Yeah,
have something.
go ahead.
Yeah. So Jenna, I just want to say for me, it's always been a pleasure to be on the village board with you. And we've been lucky enough to be on several committees together: the fire EMS, personnel, public safety, and the school resource subcommittee. We're also part of the housing coalition, and we were also part of the library team to build a new library. So I'm glad that you're going to be part of, I think, the library building committee. You'll continue that. So just want to say thank you for serving on the village board. It's been a pleasure for me.
Thanks, Randy.
And I'll just say thank you all. It's been a lovely experience. I really appreciate y'all putting up with me over these past 4 years.
It's been our pleasure. All right, rounding out the trio of thank yous is we have a thank you from Village Administrator Mike Grace.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment just to thank all the numerous board members I worked with over the years since I've been here, including the 4 village presidents who've all been very supportive of me. As Jeannie said, our fantastic staff, which makes us all look good. And then just the great community support I've received over the years. I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone tonight. So thank you again.
Of course, we're going to miss you very, very much, but we're not letting you go until what, May 3rd?
May 3rd. Yep.
Okay, so don't worry, we'll find stuff for you to do between now and then.
Absolutely. I'm sure of that.
Yes, right.
I want to make sure that we didn't, as Jeannie's so modest, she got a really nice letter from President of the school board, Steve Zock, that's in the packet, just thanking her for her great contributions to the community. So.
Oh yes, thank you. That was very nice from.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we will keep going on to community input. So this portion of the agenda allows members of the public to bring anything to our attention or to speak about really anything that they want that's not on the agenda. We can't take action, but we can for sure put it on a future board agenda. So is there anyone from the public that would like to speak with us now?
I would. This is Teresa Nelson.
Hi, hey Teresa Nelson, go ahead. Oh, and then if you just want to say what your address is, that'd be great.
Sure. I live at 245 Drumlin Circle in the village. And I just want to take just a minute to introduce you all to a new conservation organization that we've created within the village called the Oregon Nature Alliance. Just a quick overview of the group, our mission, and some of our planned activities for this year.
Good, sure, go for it.
Thanks. So we formed to give a voice to those in and around the village that care about and value nature and natural areas. A lot of our founding members have been really involved with other park projects in the village and around the village, as well as projects at the schools. And we really are a group that loves and values nature, and we've been very active in the committee, in the community, and we really want to do more. So our mission is to protect and enhance local natural areas in our parks and throughout the village, while also promoting activities that bring people closer to nature. And so to do this, we will advocate for the protection, restoration, and expansion of local natural areas. We'll provide and promote opportunities for people to experience nature. We'll educate people about the importance of the natural world, and we'll work to restore the native ecosystems that we all depend upon. So some of the things that we have planned for this year, we'll support the Rotary Club in their continued restoration efforts in Lerner Park. We'll advocate for ecological restoration of the west side of Keller Alpine Meadows Park. We'll advocate for native landscaping at the new library. We'd like to coordinate with the library and village staff to do a nature-themed story walk at Keller Alpine Meadows Park. We plan to organize tours of residents' native plant gardens throughout the village this summer. And one of the biggest things we want to do is provide free native plant gardens for interested village residents, so we can start bringing nature back home to Oregon. So thanks for the time. You can follow our group on Facebook for more information, and that's the Oregon Nature Alliance. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for being here and being engaged in the community and leading a great effort. Really appreciate that. All right, additional members of the public who'd like to speak now. Doesn't look like we have anybody, so we'll keep going. Let's see, we don't have any public appearances or minutes tonight, but we do have vouchers. So tonight we have vouchers in the amount of $78,179.97. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve to get that on the table, we have a motion by Glish and a second by Stitch. All right, what questions do we have for staff? Small list tonight. Doesn't look like we have any questions. All right, Candy, you want to do a roll call vote?
Jacobson,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Stitch,
Yes.
and Bollig.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item 10, proclamations and announcements. Do we have any board comments tonight?
Judy, can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
This is actually for you, just comments from me. I could have said them before, but I just, for me personally, just want to thank you for your great leadership over the last 2 years as village president. And being a good role model for me as I will become village president tomorrow. I think you're leaving me big shoes to fill. I also want to thank you for being a big part of the library, making the library happen. I think that'll be one of your legacies that you'll have. And also just I appreciate your, and I've said this before, let's do it attitude. And I hope I can continue that. So thank you, Jeannie.
Well, that's very nice of you, Randy. Thank you very much. Happy to give you the gavel that doesn't really exist starting tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, I'm not issuing any pardons, no executive orders in my last hours. Nothing like that. All right, well then, anyone else? We're good? Okay, going on to staff comments. So we have a reminder of the Senior Center drive-through brat bash on Friday, May 7th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Rachel, do you want to give that a plug?
Sure, we talked about this last week. We can talk about it again. Hoping everybody will mark their calendars for Friday, May 7th. We have a drive-through brat bash going on in our parking lot that day. Also, businesses that would like to order I think it's 5 or more orders, we will deliver to the businesses. So they should call or fax in their orders to us in advance. Just hope for a beautiful day and a lot of hungry people.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Item 2 is April 24th is the Drug Take Back Day. Chief Pagankoff, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. April 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the Oregon Police Department. We'll take in any medications people want to get rid of. If for some reason you can't make the event, that's okay. Our drop box is still available in the lobby of the Oregon Police Department Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to about 6 p.m. So thank you.
Good, very good. And then we have some upcoming meetings. Tomorrow, which is a Tuesday, is a special organizational board meeting. So new board members, you'll want to zoom into that. And then the next regular board meeting is May 3rd. Staff, anything else that you have right now?
And the May 3rd meeting will be Martin's first meeting with the board.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting.
It is.
All right, going on to item 11, communication and miscellaneous business. First item is we have a retirement notice from Assistant Public Works Director Gary Dish. I don't know anyone who doesn't love Gary Dish and Donna. And Jeff, I thought you wrote a really nice memo for the packet. So if other board members wouldn't mind, I'd really like that to be read into the record to signify everything that Gary has done. So Jeff, would you mind doing that tonight?
Absolutely. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Following this memo, in the packet is a letter from Gary Dish, the Assistant Public Works Director, announcing his retirement from Public Works effective May 31st, 2021. I wish there were adequate words to use in helping me to describe what contributions Gary has given to the Village of Oregon. Gary Dish began his employment with the Village in October 1979, and at his retirement date, he will have been an employee of the Village for a total of 41 years and 8 months. That's 15,219 days and 2,174 Mondays. He's the longest standing employee of the Village by far, and his presence and gifts will be greatly missed by all. If you were to study the definition of the words public servant, you would find no better example of this person than Gary Dish. Gary has devoted his life and career completely to the Village of Oregon, routinely going well and above and beyond the call of duty. What the numbers and dates above don't represent are the many countless hours after hour calls he received from residents and department heads needing assistance, the countless volunteer hours he put in above his regular work hours, or the countless number of night meetings or the number of weekends and evenings you could find him taking care of planter boxes or landscape areas throughout the village. And I literally could go on and on. Throughout all of this, Gary has humbly worked behind the scenes, often unnoticed, and has never done work expecting anything in return. He is a gentle, patient, caring, and meticulous employee who routinely puts others above himself. Gary's love of this village and how it looks and operates is surpassed by no one, almost to a fault. In fact, if I were pushed to say something negative, it is that he rarely thinks of himself. He is a loving husband to Donna, a loving father to his children, a doting grandfather, and a great-grandfather to many. As a leader, Gary has been a supervisor and assistant director of public works for over 20 years. He is well respected by his peers and honored by those he leads in our department. He expects a high quality of work from his subordinates, but he's never unrealistic in his expectations or unfair to others should a project or task not go as expected. He is also quick to recognize and give credit to others when they succeed. Personally, I've had the honor of working alongside Gary for the past 6 years. Coming into this position in 2015, I relied heavily on Gary and his wealth of knowledge to help me succeed and understand the many intricacies of our village. His incredible knowledge of our village, its residents, our roads, our utility systems, parks, cemetery, and so forth has been extremely beneficial to me and contributed to the enjoyment of my job. I will miss Gary, sorry, and his dedication to his position. Gary has worked harder for the village than anybody I know. His fingerprints can be seen in thousands of ways on countless projects and tasks. We will never be able to fully comprehend the contributions Gary has made to the village of Oregon, and for that, we are eternally grateful. As Gary prepares for retirement, I wish him and his wife Donna the very best of everything. I hope that his retirement years are full of the rewards of a job exceptionally well done. I know Gary well, and I know that this decision to retire has been extremely difficult for him. And the reason for that is only because he cares so much about our village and its residents. In retirement, I anticipate we will continue to see Gary around the village on a frequent basis. If you see him, he will likely be tending flowers in the downtown area, weeding our roundabout islands on Highway 138, or taking care of things up at the cemetery. He won't be doing it for money, and he won't be doing it for recognition. He will simply be doing it because he completely loves the village of Oregon and has given every ounce of his heart and soul to it for nearly 42 years. Well done, Gary. Well done.
Here,
Yes.
here.
Yes, here, here. So we'll have to see if, or I guess if the future board decides, we'll have to see if we can get Gary at a future meeting and make sure he knows how much the board has appreciated him.
We will be, and I'll be bringing a resolution back before the board, saying some of the same things for before the end of May.
All right.
Good.
Well, you may have to kidnap him and hold him hostage because Gary does not like the spotlight. So
He does not like the spotlight, but neither does Mike, and we're forcing him to do it too.
this is true. All right. Thank you for that, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, so then item 11B, we have discussion and possible action regarding possible sick leave conversion plan payment of $83,545.91 to Assistant Public Works Director Gary Dish upon his retirement. This has been budgeted in Fund 201. Someone like to make a motion to approve? Motion by Peterson, seconded by Jacobson. Mike, is there anything that you want to say about this, just so the public knows what's happening?
Yeah, so the reason why there's a cross out on the agenda is that we caught, or actually Gary caught an error we made in his calculation, and this is his sick leave. There's only a few people that are eligible for this program, and he's one of them. And as noted on the agenda, this is funded in Fund 201, and a board that approves his budget every year as part of the annual budget.
Gotcha. All right.
Yep.
Any questions on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding declaring Assistant Public Work Director's village cell phone as surplus and selling the phone to Gary Dish in the amount of $100. Would someone like to make a motion to approve that? Motion by Glish and a second by Peterson. Any discussion on this one? All those in favor say aye.
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 When opposed, motion carries. Item D, discussion of possible action regarding the resolution of 21-23. This is the development of J.C. Park West, establishing $4 million as a village's commitment for the project. Someone like to make a motion to approve this resolution? We can discuss then. Motion by Stitch, second by Jacobson. We approved the borrowing for much of this at last week's meeting, right, Mike?
Yeah, so Jeannie, this resolution is doing a couple of things. It's when I prepared this, I actually worked on this a little bit with Elise and Jeff. When you look at the attachment right now, the estimate is $4.7 million from Rattler to the project. So somebody would say, well, then why would you have 4.5 as a budget? But anyway, and what I'm saying in this resolution, I'm trying to do two things. I'm saying The board has committed $4 million to the project. That's our commitment. And the community has to raise $500,000. And if most likely, if you want to do the entire project, you may have to raise more. But at this point, just like the library, we're saying we're borrowing $10 million for that project. We're saying we're borrowing $4 million for this project. You know, as a municipal budget or municipal project, you have to have a cap on what you're going to spend on a project. So that's what I'm saying in this resolution is $4 million. The other thing it's saying is that previous resolutions had us not borrowing the money until the 500,000 was raised. But, you know, we felt like it made sense with the interest rates to borrow the money now to save some money that way. And Matt helped me draft the paragraph number 7 in here, where it talks about that, you know, we're encouraging the community to continue to fundraise to raise $500,000. But if the project doesn't hit that amount, then the project will have to be reduced. But I'm pretty comfortable and confident that we're going to hit that mark and exceed it over the next year and a half. So, but that's what this resolution is doing.
All right, thank you for that. Any
Yep.
questions on this? Yeah, Jerry.
Yes, Mike, that was a good overview of this project. Question though, is the project going to start before we collect the $500,000 from the public?
It could.
It could.
And it could, and I guess that's what we're saying in this resolution, that if, let's say we only raise 400,000, then the budget is $4.4 million for the project. You know, I think what I'm saying in this resolution is that the village has stepped up to the plate and has given a lot of money to the project. And if the community doesn't want to raise or cannot raise the $500,000, then the project will have to be reduced by that amount, whatever they're short. But like I said, I'm pretty confident and comfortable we're going to hit that mark. Yeah.
So when will that project begin, Mike?
Jeff, I think we're going to try to go out to bid after the holidays, right? Is that what we're looking at now?
We anticipate going out to bid either late this year or
Or
very early next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on what the bidding market looks like through that time period.
Okay. So fundraising can go on for approximately a year yet.
The fundraising can go on while the project's being built, while the project's
right.
being completed. I mean, like I said, I'm comfortable we're going to get to 500,000. I'm hoping that actually we get more than that so we can actually build the 4.7 if that's what it comes in at. So.
And I think, Mike, you know, we could add that one of the things that we don't have a good tangible number right now on is one of the things in building the concession stand.
I was going to say that. Yep.
There's a very good chance of in-kind donations,
Right.
Of materials, workmanship, labor, that type of thing. And those in-kind donations are considered as contributions, which
Right.
we anticipate that being more than enough to put us over the top.
Yeah. But I think we want to be encouraging people to donate to the project. So,
Absolutely.
so I think it's important by this resolution that the board's, you know, setting its involvement in the project of $4 million.
All right, other questions or discussion? All right, then we have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2123. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then now item E, we have a discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2124, approving the dissolution of the cable TV committee. We talked about this at a previous meeting. Someone want to make the motion before we talk about it? Motion by Peterson and second by Stitch. Sounds like they've changed their bylaws, and there's no need to now have essentially two committees. Is that kind of right, Mike?
You're right. Yep, Ginny, you're right. Yep.
All right.
At the next board meeting, we'll be appointing a village board member to the media board per their bylaws at the May 3rd meeting.
Sounds good. Yes, Jenna.
Forgive me if this was included in the previous discussion about their reorganization, but are we still doing the money handling for them? And if so, are we going to have like an MOU or something that defines that, or how does that get worked out?
That part, I mean, that relationship isn't changing with their bylaws, and we've never had an MOU because the money is in the village's budget. Every year, the board makes a decision whether or not to fund the cable services. You know, you could at some point decide to do that, but we've been doing this for many years without an MOU because we control the money, and again, it becomes an annual decision by that board every year to provide the funding or not, and what level.
Okay, thank you.
Amanda, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have I say we because I'm on the board currently. We have a treasurer who does handle the money because there's payroll and there's all kinds of things. So the money every year that the village allocates comes from the franchise fees that we get paid. And so that's where that money comes from. And then we turn around and give whatever portion of that to OCA Media. And they have a treasurer and a board, and they manage the money on their own. So there isn't really a need for the MOU.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the explanation. Any other questions? All those in favor then of the resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item F, discussion and possible action regarding a contract award. This is for the 2021 street and utility improvements for North Main Street, County Highway MM. We recommend motion to accept the bid and award the contract for the 2021 street and utility improvements for North Main Street, County Highway MM project to Speedway Sand and Gravel in the amount of $842,729.64. Someone like to make that motion? Motion by Peterson, second by Jacobson. All right, Jeff, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, so, well, yep, I am on. I just wanted to writing here. Yes, this is obviously the village side of the project. We talked a little bit before about how we have a village side and then we have a split village / Dane County side, and Dane County will be handling the roadway project. But this project includes the installation of the water main, the addition of the sidewalk, which I think is a very important addition from basically Quick Trip / Earth area there all the way up to Braun Road. And then about $170,000 in upgrades and improvements and reconstructing of manholes and some lining of some sewer lines along this stretch here. I'm aware of Speedway Sand and Gravel. They do a lot of projects in the area. Our engineers are supportive of them. And, quite honestly, project costs came out a little higher than we anticipated, but not too bad considering the market. We've seen a lot of projects coming in quite a bit higher across the industry, but I think this is a good bid. And we had 5 bids came back, and I'm encouraged by what we have here. And we had a very good project information meeting about a week and a half ago, and that was very well attended. And I think this is going to be a good project. It's going to be a disruptive project, but you've got to make a mess before you make things much better.
Thanks, Jeff. Any questions on discussion on this one? Yes, Jerry.
Thank you. Jeff, would you describe briefly for anyone that might be viewing this telecast where the project will start and where it will end?
Absolutely.
And also the projected start and end date too.
Oh, you're going to get me on those too. So let's see. Okay, the start and the end. The start, the southernmost portion will be at Grove Street, just a little south of Grove Street. There will be milling, some roadway there, but pretty much from Grove Street all the way up to actually north of McDonald's a little bit, because the county is actually going to upgrade some of their portion of the roadway outside of the village as it heads to the roundabouts there. So pretty much North Main as much as we know it.
Okay,
Then time frame will be probably start end of May, early June. Well, it could be mid-May, but more like, yeah, mid-May through end of August is the projected time frame. It'll be in phases though.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other discussion, questions? All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve that contract. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item G, we have a discussion with Ford Development Group and possible board action regarding the outstanding invoices balance. So we have a recommended motion to approve the agreement for paying of fees. Someone wants to make that motion, then we'll discuss.
Jeannie,
it.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, to interrupt you. There actually is not an agreement. We actually came up with a different arrangement, which you might have at least take some moment to explain it to the board.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Elise. I'm sorry.
Oh,
okay.
thanks, Jeannie. We've got a lot of moving pieces on Highlands and Otherwood right now, so just wanted to catch everyone up to speed. But there are some outstanding balances due from fees that have accumulated on Highlands and Otherwood for kind of phases that are ongoing, phases 1 and 2, where construction's being done right now, and then some planning work for phase 3 and work that we're doing planning for the multifamily parcels along Highway CC. So those are all kind of grouped together, but came to our attention last week that there was an amount that was more than 120 days overdue, and we have a cost reimbursement agreement in place. So we did draw down the deposit that we hold from that, but there's about $34,000 outstanding to rectify the balance due, as well as replenish the $15,000 deposit. So we've communicated that to Forward Development Group last week. They're aware of that amount to be due. But in the meantime, there are some important approvals lined up that they do need to keep moving, and the Planning Commission will need to review as well. So we want to make all efforts to try to keep them on their schedule to get everything approved, hopefully by the May 17th Village Board meeting. So tonight, we would be looking for the board to approve an annexation agreement. There's an introduction of a resolution for Lindell Street to vacate that right away. And then the Planning Commission took a look at a preliminary plat for phase 3 at their meeting last week. So we'd be looking for the board to recommend approval of that. There's still a final plat to come forward in May for the Planning Commission. The one item that after discussing with Attorney Matt Dragney, that we will hold on to approving until that balance is paid would be the annexation ordinance of the Tarkenton parcel, as we've been calling it. That parcel is tied up in the plat and all the other items, so those can't move forward. We can't, plat lands that are not in the village. So that item will be sort of the last outstanding approval that will be lingering out there until those fees are paid. Hopefully those fees are paid before the May 17th meeting, so we can approve everything in that time, and then they can move forward with construction plans for those phases. But just wanted to bring the board up to speed on where we are with those balances due, and we've been communicating with Forward Development Group on how we can prevent this from happening in the future. So I think we're all on the same page with that now.
So Jeannie, there's really nothing for the board to, if the board agrees with this approach, there's nothing really for the board to vote on item G. We'll just follow what Elise has described, and I think that will suffice. Matt, you agree, right, Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, he clicked in.
Jerry, I saw your hand up.
Yes, my audio cut out for a bit while Elise was speaking, and I can't read lips. So I have to ask Elise, are these fees for village, are these village fees that we're trying to collect?
So they're largely consultant and review fees related to phases 1 and 2, which are under construction right now. So, you know, our village engineer, Rupert Milkey, out there doing inspections of public improvements, as well as some planning work that we're doing on phases that are yet to be fully approved. So phase 3, there's a replat process going on right now. There's also the work that we're doing to plan Tarkenton, that multifamily parcel. So those fees that, you know, Mike Slavny, Matt, myself, all bill for time spent on those projects. It's sort of all lumped together. There's a lot of ongoing and future work kind of overlapping right now.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, but the total amount covers sort of balances due for all those different pieces of the project.
Thanks, Elise. Any other questions on that item? So Elise, are we going to do items H and I then tonight?
So we would be doing item H, the annexation agreement.
Okay,
That will not take effect, of course, until the annexation actually is approved, and that's done by the ordinance. So we will be skipping item I.
gotcha.
Item H. Mhm.
Okay. All right, so then we'll move forward then with item H. This is a discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2125, approving the annexation agreement between Highlands of Netherwood LLC and the Village of Oregon. This is the second annexation of the former Tarkenton property. And to catch you up from the Planning Commission meeting on February 4th, Molzon moved, seconded by Schnelly, to recommend to the village board the approval of the annexation. And the address is 5264 County Highway CC. And that annexation would be coming from the town of Oregon to the Village of Oregon using temporary zoning RH 35. And so that comes to us unanimously from the Planning Commission. So someone like to make a motion, then we can have discussion if we'd like to approve this resolution. Motion by Jacobson, second by Stitch. Any questions or discussion on this?
Jeannie, can I just mention a few things that,
Yes, please.
and maybe Matt, maybe we should just sort of go through the fees for the board so they know what we're collecting once the property's annexed.
Yeah, and it might help just to also put this agreement in the broader context
Right.
of.
Yep.
Annexation is, from my perspective, the first significant step in the development process from the village's perspective. And it does provide an opportunity for the village to reach an agreement with the developer on issues that may not be so easy to deal with at later stages of the process. And so the agreement that you have in the packet tonight is intended to address issues that we think are best addressed at the annexation stage of the process. This agreement, as Elise noted earlier, this agreement it describes the obligations and the rights that the parties would have in the event the village does adopt an ordinance annexing the territory. And we're again hoping that would happen on May 17th. After the annexation ordinance is adopted, and after this agreement is approved and the ordinance is adopted, we would then be moving through other stages of the development review process, including adoption of a final plat, dealing with zoning issues, and so on. So in this agreement, if we go to, section 3, we address a number of fee issues that we think should be addressed at this stage. First, the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor fee. So the village was involved in the construction of the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor that would serve this area and other areas. And this amount that's described in the agreement here is the amount that is this particular parcel's share of the cost of putting in that interceptor. And so that's the $24,947.77, subject to adjustment based on this construction cost index. So that's the first fee. The second fee is associated with Jefferson Street and the improvement of Jefferson Street. As you may recall, some of you may recall, we went through quite a process of developing a fee structure for lands in this area to contribute dollars towards the eventual reconstruction of Jefferson Street. And this parcel's share of that cost is $14,369. There's also a dedication requirement associated with making sure we have additional right-of-way for Jefferson Street. And item C discusses the need for there to be a bike path, 12-foot wide bike path, just adjacent to this particular property. There are other segments of the path that have been addressed elsewhere, but this is just requiring the developer to install the path adjacent to this specific property. There's a recognition here of a parkland dedication or fee in lieu of dedication obligation that will apply to the development of this property. The developer here has agreed again to make charitable contributions to the village of $155 for each unit that they create that can be then used by the village to help take care of maintain the Hermson property that's being donated for recreational purposes. We have a stormwater management fee of $4,400 and then a commitment to pay to the village the $3,330 that the village is going to be required to pay back to the town to reimburse the town for its lost tax revenue, which is a requirement under the statute when we annex territories. We have to reimburse the town for the tax revenue that it will lose for a 5-year period. Those are the major fee issues. You'll also note under section 4, we have some special provisions in here to deal with, as I recall, some oversizing issues associated with water main and sewer main. Maybe it's not oversizing. No, this is just to acknowledge the need to put some water and sewer main in Jefferson Street. I think those are the major substantive provisions that I should bring to your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from board members at this time? Thanks for that, Matt. All right, so we have a motion and a second then. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are then skipping item I. We're going to item J. This is discussion and possible action regarding resolution 21-22. This is a resolution to discontinue Lindell's Street for the Highlands of Netherwood. And so would someone like to make a motion to approve that resolution?
I think tonight, all we're doing is introducing the resolution.
Okay.
So the motion would be to introduce the resolution, then this resolution would come back to the village board. Again, we're anticipating on May 17 for actual action on the resolution itself.
Okie dokie. So do we still need to have action on that?
It would be a motion to introduce resolution number 2122.
Okay. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, second by Peterson. Thank you. Any questions on this?
Jeannie, maybe, Elise, could you show the board, the map so they know what we're doing here? And it's part of the replatting that's happening. Maybe Elise, you just want to give a overview just for a moment, please?
Sure.
Yeah, so this, again, part of the replat of phase 3, just south of this area is the Tarkenton parcel. Lindell Street was originally shown as sort of a stub that would continue into future development on Tarkenton. And due to some changes in plans and that Tarkenton parcel going to likely be its own standalone multifamily development, the replat shows actually a small cul-de-sac here. Now it's not shown in this resolution, but it's slightly adjusted from the stub out. So because it's area that was shown in the original plat as public, property, public right of way, that's the reason for the need to discontinue. And then the new plat, once that's approved, that will show the new layout with the cul-de-sac.
All right, thank you for that. Any questions? All right, all those in favor of the resolution introduction, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Going on to item 12. So this is report of committees. This is from the Planning Commission, so I'll cover these. First one is discussion of possible action regarding the preliminary replat of Phase 3 Highlands of Netherwood subdivision submitted by Forward Development Group. So the Planning Commission recommends the preliminary replat of Phase 3 conditioned meeting the recommendations in the village planner and zoning administrator Elise Cruz's memo dated April 8th, 2021. All right, so would someone like to make this motion, please?
Move.
Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson. Any questions on this? I think we have some folks here from the development, if anyone has questions for them. All right, otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right, and then continuing from the Planning Commission, we have a discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 2106 to approve a general development plan submitted by Habitat for Humanity of Dane County. This is for the planned development zoning with MR8, underlying zoning at 769 Jeansville Street. So the first thing that we're going to do is this is the GDP, and after this we have the SIP. And I know Steve is on the meeting tonight, so I might have him talk here in a minute. But if the board is willing, we'll do a first motion here by a 2/3 vote of the board. We'll suspend the rules and waive the first and second readings at tonight's meeting. So someone interested in making that motion? Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, thank you. All right, and then we'll get this motion on the table. So then we have a motion to approve ordinance 2106. This is for the GDP. Anyone have would someone like to make a motion? Motion by Glish, second by Peterson. All right. Steve, do you would you mind, or Elise, just kind of going through what you're all planning on that parcel for the board? Because I think it's pretty exciting, and you guys could probably just describe it better than I could.
Sure, let me see if I can scroll to the site plan.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're
I'll
almost
stop.
there. Yeah.
I see.
I think it's further up, or I think you went up, I think you went past it at least, didn't you?
There's a larger version of it.
Is there?
Yeah,
That was at the end.
there was a lot of great exhibits in this submission. We got some compliments from the planning commission on that. So I was trying to see if there was where your nice color one was. Okay, we're almost there. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, you're right.
So Steve, do you want me to walk them through it, or would you like to sort of give an overview of your plan?
Yeah, I can give a very brief overview, and I'd like you to fill in the blanks, but
Okay.
we're real excited about this project bringing us back to Oregon, and it's been a real pleasure working with all the folks here. I heard earlier about all the great people you have working on the board and in the village, and I would just have to second that. It's very easy to work with all you folks, but we listen to the neighbors, we listen to the planning commission. We work with Veerbecker as our engineers and designers. They've came up with what I think is a really good compromise between what we originally thought and what we put together after the input. We've reduced the number of units from 5 buildings to 4, give some more space. We've moved the buildings a little bit to the southeast so that we have more room in the backyards. There's a stormwater retention facility in the back with a path around it. The negative about this for us is the expense of having to pump that water out into the stormwater area on Janesville Street. But we had an inkling of that going in, so we'll get that taken care of. The main reason for our action tonight is we would like to sell off the parcel on the southeast corner with the existing house on it. And I believe that's probably the second motion, or I'm not real familiar with how all your motions and everything operate, but that's our first action. And then we'll get to the construction later on after that. So Lisa, holes you want to fill in?
So the next step, the next item on the agenda is the SIP. That's the specific implementation plan. That's the site plan approval with the exterior materials and colors and all of that for the site as a whole. The next step in terms of being able to sell off that small parcel with existing home will be a CSM, a certified survey map of the environs. So once we receive that, we'll process that back through the planning commission. But the GDP and SIP, the zoning step here allows the site to be divided in that way. But I think the other things I would mention too, we had some members of the Oregon Historical Society attend the meeting and had a good discussion about some of the relics that will be, there's some nice stone pieces that are all over the site, former Bible camp. So some of those pieces will actually be part of the walking path around the stormwater pond. And the pond is actually a dry stormwater basin, so it will be very shallow, likely not filled with water the majority of the time, but if it would be filled with water, it would be about 2 or 3 feet deep. So there was some talk about safety, and I think those questions were addressed. And there's also going to be some interpretive signage that the Historical Society said that they will be happy to provide up closer to the street so folks walking by can see that. And then I think there will be some coordination between Habitat and the Historical Society if any of those structures, a couple of them might be able to be moved up to the Historical Society as part of their museum. I think those details will be worked out between the two parties, but overall we were really happy with the adjustments made, and the Planning Commission was very complimentary of the submission materials, the building materials, and all of the comments, I guess, that were incorporated. So just wanted to highlight this darker orange area shown as a landscape buffer. I know they recently did a tree survey, and so a lot of these trees in this area will be untouched. But these will be 2-story duplexes, and I'll maybe just scroll back to that image. Sorry for all the changing up on you. So this is conceptually what these duplexes might look like. We talked a little bit about household size. I think they're typically a 2 to 4 bedroom, but these will likely be on the smaller side, so maybe around 1,100 to 1,300 square feet with unfinished basements. There'll be 1 garage parking stall, indoor parking, and then that driveway space for each family. Here's some concepts of how they'll sort of try to acknowledge the stone, the history of the stone and the relics on the site into the building base. And this is just an example of some color palettes that they use on other projects. But overall, I think it's a great plan, and definitely incorporated a lot of the initial concerns and comments that we heard from the community.
Yeah, thank you, Elise and Steve. Any questions on this GDP proposal from Habitat for Humanity from board members? All right, so then we have a motion in a second to plan or to adopt the ordinance 2106. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, then the second part of this is also at the Plan Commission meeting. They address the specific implementation plan for the Habitat for Humanity project, known as SIP. And so the motion that's coming forward from the Plan Commission is to approve the SIP conditioned upon staff approval, recommendation in staff letters, and final HOA documents to be handled by Habitat for Humanity of Dane County. So I'll bring that motion forward if someone would like to second it. Second by Jacobson, thank you. All right, any questions on this? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Steve, for being here. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, and then this is a FYI only. The Planning Commission had a conceptual discussion with Jeff Mason regarding a potential annexation of property along Lincoln Road / Blue Haven Farms. And that is pretty much still, it sounded like, up in the air. Things are kind of fluid with that, that potential land sale and annexation. At least anything else you wanted to say on that?
Not this time. I realize this picture is upside down now, but there was a kind of a last minute change last week in terms of the land being discussed, and I didn't have time to update the packet for the village board before it went out. But this is near the water tower. You can imagine this is upside down. So south is down here, north is down here. Here's the golf course off of Lincoln Road. But there's a gentleman named Jeff Mason who's looking to purchase the property and sort of develop a more rural homestead with a home and garage to work on cars and possible space, a small barn for a horse, things like that. So he has been working with Roger Parsons of Blue Haven Farms and would be basically what we're pursuing with this. The farm is in the town currently, and they've gone through all of the splits that they are allowed to do by the county. So the only way another split of land could happen would be to bring this land into the village and then do a certified survey map to redraw property lines. So at this time, that's sort of the path that we're going down. There's some area, this area kind of in purple and then in green is approximately what Jeff Mason would be looking to purchase from the larger Blue Haven Farms parcel, but we would be looking to annex the entire Blue Haven Farms parcel, and then that split between Jeff and the farm would happen at a later date. But as we have more detailed plans and Jeff understands, where he wants to build a house and how much land exactly would be annexed, to make sure that it meets all of the requirements in terms of street frontage, we'll have some more exact plans to come forward. But this would be potentially our first annexation of land on the south side of Lincoln Road into the village. There's currently water service available here, so he would be required to hook up to public water, but there's no sanitary sewer service on this section of of Lincoln at this time. So part of that annexation agreement, if this would go forward, would be a requirement that he would connect to sanitary sewer if and when it becomes available in this area. I think that was kind of the main points on this one, but again, conceptual, and no purchase of land has happened at this time. So we're just kind of moving through initial discussions on this.
Thanks, Elise. So that's something that would probably be coming in front of the board perhaps in the future, just keeping everybody in the loop. All right, moving on to item, what number are we on? 12B. This is from the April 13th Park Board meeting. And so I'll be looking to Elise and Mike to give us some information on this. The first one is the Oregon Nature Alliance information. It was very nice of Teresa to be here during public comment to give information on that. So thank you, Teresa, for doing that. Anything you guys want to add?
Yep, at this point.
Okay. And then do you want to give a little bit of information that's presented about the Lerner Park with the Oregon Rotary Club?
I think I'll say a few things, and I know maybe Elise wants. I mean, I think just generally speaking, the village has actually budgeted for a master plan, and we actually borrowed the money for it. So whenever we are ready to do it, we have the funding available to do the master plan for the area. You know, something that Arlen or Larry Marr mentioned. So,
And Mike, can I comment on that?
yeah, sure.
One of the reasons we've suggested to the Lerner Park folks is, and one of the reasons we've held off on master planning for Lerner Park is, quite honestly, Lerner Park is 70 to 80% underwater right now, and has been for the last couple of years with all the water we've been getting from Cusick Parkway and just the really wet years. And our feeling is, you know, over time, hopefully we either find a solution for the water, and hopefully we have some drier periods where hopefully they would have more land and more area to consider as part of the master plan.
Good point, Jeff. Right.
All right, thank you for that.
Yep.
Next one was an informational item, the Oregon Youth Sports Inc. Regarding development of Anderson Farm County Park for playing fields and possible appointment of a park board member to the OYS Inc. board.
There is property as part of Anderson County Park that this group is looking to develop some playing fields on. The village actually tried doing this a couple of times, and so we are actually in support and have met with Ben from the organization. And at least, could you bring up a map? Would it be possible to do that? Maybe that way the board knows what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
It's out in the township part of the park, and
Get to the window
Sorry.
here. Hope you're fine. So I believe it's this 40-acre piece of property here, which is shown as owned by Dane County. So Ben Cowan and others that are involved in youth sports have formed this Oregon Youth Sports Organization. I think it's in part to coordinate schedules and liability forms and just information, sign up information for parents, kind of all in one consolidated spot, one consolidated website. So they're working on that, as well as working on with the county potential to develop this parcel for more active use of multi-use playing fields with some restroom facilities out there. The big hurdle Mike was probably getting to is that just access to the site, since it is landlocked. So I know they've been reaching out to landowners both off of Lincoln and Union to see if an easement will be possible. But we'll certainly, help in whatever way we can as that group moves forward. And they'd also asked if a park board member could serve on the board for the Oregon Youth Sports Inc. group, just to kind of be in the loop about coordination efforts that the sports organizations are doing together, as well as any movement on developing kind of a the field facility out here in the county park. So the park board didn't take any action on that. I think they're also waiting for the new village board member to be appointed to the park board. So we'll circle back to that at a future park board meeting.
All right, thank you for that. Going on, item 4, this is a discussion and possible action regarding the use of parks for athletic practices and games. First item, this is the Highlands of Netherwood playing field weekend use for soccer. The park board agreed with village staff recommendation to not use Highland and Netherwoods playing field on weekends at this time. It might be available for the fall playing season.
No action. That's our recommendation, and we just wanted the park board to know that we recommended it, and they agreed with it. So, and soccer agree with it as well. So they understand the field needs to get rust while it's still new.
Right.
Yep.
Good. Okay. And then item B, the park board motion, Klein moved, seconded by Van Campen, to recommend village board approval for Oregon Soccer to use Rustic Vineyard, Norm Champion, and High Meadow Netherwood parks with a backup option for use of Stone Ridge and Windcrest parks as presented in Eric Anderson's April 12th, 2021 email. So we don't need action on that here, right? Or do we?
We should approve that, please.
Oh, okay, cool. Would someone like to then bring that same motion then to the village board? And the park board, thank you. Motion by Jacobson and second by Stitch. Any questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, and then the second one that the park board is bringing forth as a motion is to recommend the approval of Oregon Youth Football to use Kaiser Park for games and Bergamot Park for practice in the fall of 2021. So someone like to bring that motion to the village board. All right, motion by Glish, second by Peterson. Any questions on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Item 5, this is discussion and possible action. This is regarding the use of 102 and 153 Alpine Parkway lots for temporary athletic field use in 2021. So this is a motion that the park board is recommending that the village also approve to approve the use of those 102 and 153 Alpine Parkway for temporary athletic field use by soccer, lacrosse, ultimate frisbee, youth football, and rugby. Someone like to bring that motion forward? Motion by Peterson and second by Stitch. Thank you. So this is the empty lot next to the bank that we just bought, correct?
Well, one is to the south, and then the other one is actually
East.
it's north of Chad Miller's dental office, owned by Dan Bertler. So Dan was kind enough to thank you, Elise. Dan was kind enough to list, and so that particular lot will come back to the board because Matt Dragney, our attorney, is preparing just a very short lease between us and Dan to use the lot.
Okay.
So Dan's going to allow us to use, and we're saying in both these cases, these are temporary uses, but hopefully Dan's going to build something on that lot next year. But that was pretty a nice gesture that he allowing us to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So should we still vote on this motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right. Yes, Amanda.
Yeah, so whatever the soccer fields are that they're going to be using, is that going to be set back enough? I'm concerned more about the Alpine Parkway location. One of these is the one we just bought, right?
They're both on Alpine Parkway.
They both are, okay. So yeah.
This is the one just south of the bank, and then the other one's right north of the dentist.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's not a safety thing. If there's some, I mean, as far back as they can get it from that road, because it can be kind of busy.
Right.
Soccer balls.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely one thing we discussed, and I'll just mention these are just really rough layouts that I put together. So the sports organizations didn't approach us about this. It's something that we brought up to them. So depending on, they probably, I think, end up putting some of the smaller kids in smaller fields out here just to make sure that there is that buffer. And I think, Mike, did you mention that Dr. Miller will allow folks to park at his dentist office, in the off hours and everything. But the reason too that those specific sports are listed and not baseball and softball, we just talked about the adjacent buildings and wanting to make sure that we weren't going to have sports that had balls flying out into fields or onto property. So they're a little too small for those other sports.
Okay,
So we'll
thanks.
see how this works temporarily and give it a go for this year.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of everybody working together to try to get more playing fields for kids. So
We just continually get requests for playing
As I
fields.
say, that's all we hear about. We have enough playing fields. So we're looking at every blade of grass to put playing fields on in the village,
Yep.
so to speak.
excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have a motion and a second then on that temporary field use. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And then item 6, this is a discussion of possible action regarding installation of bat houses at Stone Ridge Park on Cherrywood. So the park board is recommending to us approval to install bat houses at Stone Ridge Park on Cherrywood through the end of 2021. And then they amended their motion to add Public Works may approve the location of bat houses, and parties installing the bat houses are responsible for upkeep and maintenance. Public Works will recycle the wood if the bat houses are in disrepair. So someone like to bring that motion forward to the village board. Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson. Any questions on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, as an informational item, the Oregon Wellness Coalition has set up an April Park cleanup. And so that runs through April 30th. And Elisa's got more information on the screen for that. All right, item 13. So we have some minutes not requiring action. The library board had a meeting on March 10th, 2021. We don't have any unfinished business. We don't have any new business. We have some future agenda items on there. So, oh, look, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Yep.
All right. This is my last call. Motion to adjourn, village board.
Before we do that, my mute button was sticking earlier tonight, especially.
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it.
Can I
Can I just say that Jerry is this is interesting. Jerry is delaying the adjournment of the meeting for possible the first time ever. Okay.
But it's for a good cause. Okay,
go ahead.
It's for a good cause. My audio was out during the beginning of the meeting. I missed the thank yous.
Oh.
And I didn't want to let this meeting to end without thanking Jeannie and Jenna for being such great colleagues. I really found Jeannie's leadership to be very competent. And she, as a matter of fact, I don't think she missed the meeting while she was president. Did you, Jeannie?
I don't know.
No, well, let's just, you didn't, because I'd have known, because I would have had to take the meeting. So you didn't miss the meeting. And again, Jeannie and Jenny, you've been great colleagues. I'll miss serving with you. And I know we'll see you around the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you for letting me give you a hard time during meetings for so many years. Appreciate it.
Well, I do know your shoe size because I've had it on my backside once in a while.
You're welcome. Yes, Amanda.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, don't mistake my silence for not saying anything to both of you. Same thing. I just don't want to repeat. You've both been wonderful to work with. So I feel like just because no one says anything, don't mistake our silence for like disagreement or anything. We, of course, I'm sure the rest of us feel the same way.
Yes, appreciate that. Well, that goes with the job, right? People usually don't say anything to you unless they think you're doing something wrong. So I always think silence is probably good. Appreciate that. All right, Jerry Bollig, would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, is there a second?
I'll
Second by Jacobson. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Chair adjourned. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a
Nick.
great night. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoy your retirement.
Aren't you funny? Thank you.